No one could have imagined that the man who gave forgotten machines a second chance would one day be fighting for his own. He wasn't a celebrity born into fame. He wasn't backed by corporations or powerful investors. He was just a regular man with dirty hands, a camera, and an obsession with bringing dead things back to life. For years, millions watched him walk into dusty fields and silent barns, stand in front of rusted wrecks everyone else had given up on, and do something remarkable. He didn't just fix cars. He gave them stories again. He gave them purpose again. People trusted him. They believed in him. And then, almost overnight, everything collapsed. Federal agents, criminal charges, forged documents, a vanished partner, and a sentence that would erase the life he spent years building. The question wasn't just how it happened. The question was whether it ever should have happened at all. A man who never intended to be famous. Long before anyone recognized the name Derek Bieri, he lived a simple, ordinary life in Minnesota. He worked as an automotive technician, fixing problems that other people brought to him. The job was steady, predictable, safe, and he hated it. Every day felt the same. Endless paperwork, strict rules, customers looking for the cheapest solution instead of the right one. The job that once gave him purpose slowly became a cage. He climbed into management, hoping it would improve things. It didn't. It only pulled him further away from the machines he loved. Instead of solving problems with his hands, he sat behind desks solving problems with spreadsheets. The spark was fading. Until one day, he made a decision that most people never have the courage to make. He walked away. No guarantees. No backup plan. No safety net. Just a belief that somehow, doing what he loved had to be better than surviving something he didn't. He returned to the basics. A gravel driveway, a borrowed toolbox, and cars that everyone else had forgotten. He started filming his work, not because he wanted fame, but because he wanted to share the process, the failures, the surprises, the small victories that came from turning a dead engine and hearing it breathe again. The videos weren't polished. The camera shook. The lighting was imperfect. But none of that mattered, because it was real, and people could feel that. Building something from nothing. The audience grew slowly at first. A few hundred viewers became a few thousand. A few thousand became hundreds of thousands. People weren't just watching repairs. They were watching hope. They saw someone proving that things written off as useless could still matter. They saw someone proving that it wasn't too late. By 2020, the growth had become impossible to ignore. More than 1 million people had subscribed. They trusted his honesty. They trusted his intentions. Companies began reaching out. Opportunities appeared that once felt impossible. Even major automotive media companies like Motor Trend showed interest in working with him. He had built something extraordinary, not through marketing, not through manipulation, but through authenticity. And that authenticity would soon be tested in ways no one could have predicted. The opportunity that changed everything. Success brings opportunity, but sometimes opportunity brings risk disguised as reward. He and several trusted partners began discussing expansion, bigger projects, more ambitious restorations, a chance to preserve automotive history on a scale they had never attempted before. Then the offer arrived. A massive private collection of vintage American cars was being sold. Dozens of vehicles from different eras, some reparable, others barely recognizable. To collectors, it was overwhelming. To him, it was a dream. He and his partners pooled their money and made the purchase. The logistics were complex. Transporting dozens of vehicles required coordination, paperwork, and trust. Someone had to sign the documents. Someone had to take legal ownership. He agreed to do it. His name went on the titles. His signature went on the transfers. He believed he was protecting the project. He had no idea he might be signing his own destruction. The phone call that started the nightmare. At first, everything seemed normal. Vehicles arrived one by one. Each delivery brought excitement. Each rusted frame held potential. Then came a phone call. Routine at first. Investigators had questions about one of the vehicles. Its VIN number matched a theft report from years earlier. Confusion turned into concern. Concern turned into fear. He provided documentation, titles, bills of sale, transfer records. Everything looked legitimate, except it wasn't. Forensic experts discovered something chilling. The documents were forged, not recently, years ago, carefully, professionally, designed to survive scrutiny. And his name was now attached to all of it. The investigation expanded quickly. More vehicles showed irregularities. More paperwork fell apart under examination. Then, the person responsible for handling much of the documentation disappeared. Phone numbers stopped working. Messages went unanswered. Social media accounts vanished. He was alone, and his name was on everything. When the world turned against him, investigators from the FBI arrived with search warrants. Computers were seized, phones taken, records examined. Everything he had built became evidence. But the legal battle was only the beginning. The public reaction was immediate and brutal. Headlines spread across the internet. Accusations spread faster than facts. Strangers formed opinions overnight. People who once admired him began questioning everything. Sponsors withdrew. Business relationships dissolved. Partnerships disappeared. The empire he built didn't collapse slowly. It collapsed instantly. His family began receiving threats. Their home address appeared online. Strangers drove past their house, filming, watching. Fear replaced normal life. They moved, changed routines, disappeared from public view. He had spent years building trust. It took days to destroy it. The trial that would decide his future. The trial began 18 months later. By then, the damage was already done. The prosecution presented what appeared to be overwhelming evidence. Documents with his signature, ownership records in his name, transactions connected to stolen vehicles. They painted a devastating picture. They argued that he wasn't a victim. They argued that he was the architect. His defense insisted the opposite. They argued he had been deceived like everyone else, that he trusted people who betrayed him. But the most devastating moment came when his former partner returned, not to defend him, but to testify against him. The partner claimed he had orchestrated everything, claimed he knew the vehicles were stolen, claimed he had planned it. Betrayal became testimony, and testimony became evidence. The jury deliberated for 3 days, 3 days that would determine whether his life would continue or end behind bars. When they returned, the verdict was clear. Guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to life in prison. In a single moment, everything he had built, everything he believed in, everything he worked for was gone. The discovery that changed the story. 3 months later, something unexpected happened. A man named Robert Callahan came forward. He had been following the case from a distance, watching, listening, and he recognized something. The forged documents used as evidence looked familiar, because he had seen them before. Years earlier, he had nearly purchased a classic car with identical paperwork. Something felt wrong. He investigated further. Authorities confirmed the documents were fake. He reported it, and nothing happened. The report was ignored. The fraud operation continued. And years later, those same forgeries appeared in this case. This revelation changed everything. It suggested that the fraud existed long before his involvement. It suggested he may have been a victim, not a criminal. It suggested the wrong person may have paid the ultimate price. The aftermath that left nothing behind. His family disappeared from public life. Friends lost businesses. Partnerships dissolved. Careers ended. The automotive community became divided. Some believed he was guilty. Others believed he had been sacrificed to close a case investigators never fully understood. Evidence continued to emerge. More victims, more ignored reports, more proof that the fraud network existed independently. And yet he remained behind bars, watching from a distance as strangers debated his life, as supporters fought for answers, as the truth slowly struggled to surface. A story without a final ending. His story doesn't end with certainty. It ends with questions. Questions about trust. Questions about justice. Questions about how quickly everything can disappear. He believed that honesty and transparency would protect him. He believed that doing things the right way would be enough. He believed wrong. Because sometimes truth doesn't protect you. Sometimes it arrives too late. And sometimes the difference between hero and criminal isn't what you did. It's what people believe you did. Somewhere, the real architects of the fraud may still be free. Somewhere, the full truth may still be waiting. And somewhere, a man who spent his life giving broken things a second chance is still waiting for his own.